Political correctness is America's newest form of intolerance, and it's especially pernicious because it comes disguised as tolerance. It presents itself as fairness, yet attempts to restrict and control people's language with strict codes and rigid rules. I'm not sure that's the way to fight discrimination. I'm not sure silencing people or forcing them to alter their speech is the best method for solving problems that go much deeper than speech.
Back now on America's Forum with Miranda Kahn, J.D. Hayworth, the late, great George Carlin, speaking on a topic that became part of his routine, how our society has become ever more politically correct.
Yeah, narrating an excerpt from his book, When Will Jesus Bring the Pork Chops? Carlin points out that hiding the problem doesn't necessarily solve the problem.
Yeah, the late, great Mr. Carlin was irreverent about a lot of things, and there's a place for irreverence in society. I don't know if our next guest, well, yeah, we'll call him irreverent. He might take that as a compliment. Let's welcome in Nick Adams.
Language. Don't be so PC.
That's right. He's the author of the upcoming book, American Walkabout, which deals with political correctness. He is in New York, as is our good friend Ellis Hinniken. So, Nick, I know you've written a whole book about it, but if you can just give us an abbreviated answer, in your mind, how is political correctness affecting this nation?
Well, JD, in my opinion, political correctness is at the root of every problem and every challenge that America faces. If you have a look throughout culture, throughout society, at the problems that afflict America, every single one of them can be traced back. Political correctness compounds them, it makes it worse, it's an attack on our way of life, it's an attack on the values of America, and I believe that the United States, the American idea, JD, is the only vaccine to political correctness.
Now, Nick, welcome to New York. First
Thank you for having me.
No, listen, I'm a First Amendment guy. I've spent a career saying things that not everybody agrees with. But can't we agree that there are some things that are just plain offensive? I mean, to use racial slurs or to insult people's backgrounds or families. I mean, there are some things, right, that really, if people say, they should be attacked for, right?
Well, look, Ellis, I hear what you say, and I personally try to not offend, but I think there's a very fine line. I mean, we don't want a society of plastic people. We don't want a society of people that are constantly on tenterhooks, that are trying to tiptoe around eggshells. America's a place where individualism thrives, and political correctness tries to rob people of their individualism.
But what should we say, Nick, when someone says something truly? I mean, I could give you a bunch of British slurs. No, I'm not going to do it because I'm too nice and polite.
Australian, you can go to town on the British.
You wouldn't like that, or maybe we'll agree on the British slurs. But what do you say when someone says something like that?
Well, you cop it on the chin, or you tell them what you think back.
Good.
That's what you do. I mean, the best answer, Ellis, to awful speech is more free speech.
All right, there you have it. Well, television host and comedian Bill Maher has also expressed frustration over political correctness, and he blames the internet. Take a listen.
Unfortunately, political correctness is making a comeback, and now with the internet, it's easier than ever. In the 90s, you had to at least get off your to be in a fake group with hurt feelings. Back then, getting worked up over nothing was a lot of work. Now it seems like all the internet exists to do is point at the latest person who said the wrong thing so the rest of us can feel morally superior. And that's not what the internet is for. That's what college is for.
Well, has the internet made it being PC more of a necessity for public figures, as Bill just said right there, Nick?
Without a shadow of a doubt, I think that the internet, and particularly social media, has exacerbated what was already an awful situation. The reality is now that things spread so quickly, people are so quick to jump on something and get on their moral high horse. Social media has become the ground for trolls. It has given people a voice that don't deserve it, and they're looking to do everything they can to take down more successful people than them, and they're using political correctness as this great sledgehammer, and it's awful. Most of what you find on the internet is utter nonsense anyway. It's defamatory. I mean, it is a sewer. And that's why, I think that one of the problems in countering political correctness is, what do you do with the internet? What do you do with social media? We can't obviously be in favour of restricting social media, restricting technology, but certainly I think we have to agree that right now social media and the internet and the smartphone are making political correctness spread like wildfire.
Nick, a little less than 2 minutes. You come to us from down under, so how do we get over
South
political
Texas,
correctness
JD.
here? How do we get over this stuff?
Well, you know what needs to happen, JD? There needs to be courage. There needs to be an animated resistance. We need to make war on political correctness. America has to come out and say, the American idea is about limitless opportunities, no gatekeepers. There is nothing that you cannot achieve. You can rise above the circumstances of your birth to go on and achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. You have the freedom to do all of that without being labelled a misogynist or a racist or a sexist or whatever it is. That is a fundamental attack on the American way of life. It is making the American dream impossible to attain. And I think that America needs to reinforce its value system, because the American value system is the greatest value system anywhere in the world.
Boy, I love the sound of that, Nick. And we can agree, right, left and right, that the left ought not to do it, the right ought not to do it. I'm glad we showed Bill Maher there, because he ought to be able to continue to say offensive things, right?
That's exactly right. It affects every single one of us, Ellis. And I want it to be a uniting idea and a uniting cause where left and right, obviously we're not going to get everyone on both sides, but we get people together to understand the dangers of political correctness and how it's threatening American exceptionalism.
And Nick Adams, we appreciate your thoughts this morning and your new book, American Walkabout, I believe the title. Thanks for checking in from Newsmax New York alongside Ellis Henican right there. Time for us to get a look at the weather with Jessica Reyes.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Jessica Reyes with your weather from coast to coast. We'll start off with the good news. Seasonably warm across the southwestern portion of the country. Not so much for our friends by the Great Lakes who dealt with lots of tornadic activity yesterday. For today, not so bad. Chilly with mainly sunny skies. But a lot of that tornadic activity, all that bad weather is moving southward and even into the northeast. We'll get to that in just a second. So all of it will extend from parts of Texas into parts of the southeast, especially by the Atlantic coastline, eventually making its way into parts of Atlanta, into Charlotte throughout the afternoon, and then rain and more strong showers and thunderstorms across the northeastern portion of the country. It will extend into parts of the Ohio Valley, into Pennsylvania, into New York, and again, as I mentioned, into parts of New England. Here are some of your daytime highs for your Friday.
And goodness knows we saw some problems in the heartland as you were reporting on those tornadoes last night.
Yeah, not far away from where some of my family lives, actually, just right outside of Chicago. That's just horrible to see that. I mean, that whole town, they were saying not either a building was destroyed or damaged. Every single building in that town.
The terrible power of tornadoes, a sobering reminder. And we thank Jessica Reyes for that weather update, and we'll be back with more right after this.